Happy Easter month, everybody, and Tony here. I would love to dedicate my unscripted retrospective of Teen Titans to my younger brother, Andreas Marino Garcia, aka Eno, who celebrated his birthday 3 days ago. So Eno, if you're watching this video right now, I hope you had a very amazing, blessed, and uplifting birthday celebration. I wish you all the best that life and love have to offer you, and I hope you enjoy my unscripted retrospective of a show that you, Thea, and I grew up with during our collective childhood, which is, of course, Teen Titans from 2003. And as for everybody else watching the video, sit back, relax, and enjoy what I have to admire about Teen Titans 2003. It's safe to say that Teen Titans 2003 does not need any introduction whatsoever. It's a show that a lot of us who grew up in the 2000s have admired, and I would even consider it one of Cartoon Network's most awesome and most legendary hits of all time, pretty much next to Samurai Jack, and outside Cartoon Network, Avatar: The Last Airbender on Nickelodeon. It's just a show that brimmed so beautifully with superhero action, witty comedy, human drama, lots of supernatural thrills, psychological chills, and everything that made Teen Titans the absolute legend that it was. And I also must give it to the tight and absolutely brilliant writing. Yes, it's also based on the original Teen Titans comics from DC Comics, but the fact that it had its own special flair to it, especially for people who either grew up with the comics or did not grow up with the comics, there was something absolutely special, absolutely brilliant, and thoroughly diverse and multidimensional that also brought Teen Titans 2003 to its absolutely well-deserved cult status as one of the greatest superhero shows of the 2000s. It also helped that it had a uniquely anime-esque style that was also inspired by the likes of Studio Gainax, especially when it comes to Fooly Cooly, and a lot of the action anime out there. And what you have in Teen Titans 2003 is a beautiful blend of style in its quick-paced anime-esque style and a whole lot of substance when it comes to the stories that could either be fun and hilarious in some moments and be serious and thoroughly engaging and thrilling in the next few moments. It's just a show that I have learned to appreciate every time I caught this on screen. And by the way, when I was in Newark back in either August or September 2003, I caught this show on Cartoon Network and was immediately, and I mean immediately, hooked with all of the amazing tension and all of the great action that I caught on screen, and it was an epic experience. And I'm sure that many a tween or pre-tween who caught the original Teen Titans on Cartoon Network would immediately attest that this was the ultimate thrill ride during those formative years. Basically, what you have in Teen Titans are 5 teenage superheroes between the ages of, let's say, 13 at the youngest and 17 or 18 at the oldest. You have Robin, the boy wonder, who might have been the apprentice slash sidekick to Batman, but here in Teen Titans, he is the competent, capable, formidable, and absolutely dashing, no-nonsense leader slash quote-unquote big brother of the group, Starfire, who is the wonderfully sweet, compassionate, and totally formidable Tamaranian princess who is still accustoming herself to Earth's customs and still finding herself in this crazy place called Earth. Cyborg, who is the group's big brother, who is part human and part machine, who also dealt with a rather tragic past in terms of what happened to him in an accident, and then he pretty much got himself bundled up together with machine parts while still keeping his human side. Raven, who is a humanoid demoness slash sorceress from Azarath, who is known for her sarcasm, dry wit, and irony, occasional cynicism, but could open up a huge kind of whoop-ass in terms of her scary, intimidating spells, and awesome spells at that. And Beast Boy, the green-skinned changeling who could transform himself into any animal he desires, as well as ensure that the animal that he transforms suits whatever situation or whatever combat scenario he and his allies, friends, slash comrades find themselves in. I dare not forget about the so-called sixth ranger of the group, Tara, who has a lot of focus episodes, or is basically the clear focus of the second season, in which she is introduced as a loner slash very mysterious young girl of 13 who has a lot of powers involving earth manipulation and a lot of things that she could do with the ground and the earth around her. But she feels like her inability to control her powers is what makes her insecure. And she also tries to not get herself too tempted by all of these offers from Slade, the big bad, in terms of trying to get her powers in check. But without spoiling too much, let's just say that a lot of things happen to Tara in the course of the second season. And I do really wish that she could have remained a permanent fixture on Teen Titans, because it would have been very cool to have had a balance of 3 guys and 3 girls. The 3 guys in Cyborg, Robin, and Beast Boy, and the 3 girls in Starfire, Raven, and Tara. Even regardless of that particular moment, or the character that I feel like should have had a lot more and should have had way more to contribute in not only season 2 but also the rest of the seasons, I still think that Teen Titans 2003 is an exciting, fun, and story-driven and character-driven show that managed to deliver on its high-octane action, great thrills, and wonderful balance of humor, action, drama, horror, thriller, and the supernatural plots that make Teen Titans, an absolute must-watch, if not absolute must-own. Speaking of must-own, I also collected all 5 seasons of Teen Titans on DVD, plus the movie Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. That is just how much Teen Titans 2003 continues to resonate with me as an adult because of the characters that I deeply cared for, the situations that they found themselves in. And I dare not forget about the superb vocal direction done by Andrea Romano. The fact that she was able to assemble a wonderful cavalcade of vocal thespians, such as Scott Menville, Kari Payton, Hynden Walsh, Tara Strong, Greg Sipes, and Ashley Johnson is absolutely brilliant. And I dare not even forget about the villains featured on there. I already mentioned Slade, but what I definitely love about Slade, known in the original comics as Deathstroke, is his use of psychological manipulation to try to mess with the Titans' heads. And he does so not always with brute force, but also through manipulation, through trying to basically gaslight even the ones who are about to be at the verge of doing something incredibly regretful. And he does so with that dark charisma. I mean, that's how he managed to get into the skins of, let's say, Robin and Tara. And even in season 4, he also has a slight connection with Raven because of everything that occurs with Raven in season 4. That is just how much of a brilliantly written and awesome villain Slade truly is. And aside from serious villains like Slade, there are also some very entertaining ones, like Control Freak, who is this extremely rotund television geek who not only is a huge fan of television and all the shows that he tunes into, but he also uses his knowledge of television for trying to gain whatever he wants to gain and also to mess with the Titans. He also has his own power of remote control manipulation, hence his name, and does so in a way that makes him thoroughly entertaining. Mumbo, who is this magician who plays a lot of tricks and does so with so much flair and vivacity. We dare not forget about Billy Numerous, who is a Southern cloner who may not be incredibly evil or nasty, but he is just a plain jerk all the way through and thinks that his whole gimmick of cloning himself just to get whatever he wants makes him the all-time greatest. And then you also have Blackfire, who is Starfire's nastier older sister, who is manipulative, but also has this type of charismatic charm about her that makes her all the more addicting to watch, even if her appearances were only like 2 appearances and that was it. I definitely enjoyed her appearance on Sisters because it also kind of fleshed out a lot more about Starfire and where she came from, as well as the differences between her and Blackfire. Although Blackfire is admittedly selfish, self-serving, and, well, a natural bitch in sheep's clothing. There were also other characters that I found myself thoroughly entertained with. The Hive Five, consisting of Jinx, Gizmo, Mammoth, Seymour, who are all thoroughly charismatic all the way through. And I especially liked Jinx because her power of bad luck is what makes her thoroughly engaging, but also extremely fun and interesting. And she does also get some character development in season 5, where she realizes that maybe her power of bad luck, let alone her dark magic, may not always be that horrible, when she finally realizes that her whole mission of capturing Kid Flash for Madame Rouge was pretty much all for naught, as Madame Rouge just wanted to mess with her and decides that enough was enough. So I get that Jinx could have been a lot more well developed, and she could have had a lot more appearances as a main Titan, let alone a reformed villainess who turned into a Teen Titan. But I'm still grateful for her presence. In fact, even looking back at all 5 seasons of Teen Titans, I still feel like there should have been way more. I still enjoy all the stories. I mean, I have some personal favorites. I loved Apprentice parts 1 and 2. I love The Beast Within. I love the episodes with Terra, such as Titan Rising and Aftershock parts 1 and 2. There was just a lot of brilliant episodes with her, and I also feel like what happened to her in Aftershock part 2, and I know that I'm heading into slightly spoilery territory right now, so if you're still interested, you're welcome. But it's safe to say that after Terra turned into the dark side by becoming Slade's apprentice, she realized that it's not all that's cut out to be. She realized that she has to sacrifice her life to save the allies and comrades that she both cherished but betrayed. And there was supposed to be a story element in which Raven stated that there was going to be a cure for her. But that didn't happen after season 3 or after season 2. And what we got from season 5 was the finale, Things Change, in which there's a girl who looks like Terra but keeps denying that she is Terra. The statue was gone. There wasn't really a whole lot of answers being stated. And it was kind of sad and a bit of a cop-out that was it. There could have been something a lot grander to continue Teen Titans. Instead, we had the total dumpster fire known as Teen Titans Go, and the admittedly entertaining Teen Titans shorts in chibi form. Yeah, at least we had the made-for-TV movie Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo, which was still admittedly a fun movie all the way through, but it's still not the same. I would have loved to have a 6th season or have the show go on a little bit longer, but it's a shame that Cartoon Network canceled it when Teen Titans was really going to a more epic route. And what's even sadder is there could have been a focus season about Starfire. There were focus episodes about Starfire, but to dedicate an entire season of Starfire, I felt like that was pretty sad. After all, you had season 1 focus on Robin and his whole tension with Slade and him trying to pursue him, but also being reminded that he doesn't have to always do this alone. He has friends slash allies slash comrades in Cyborg, Beast Boy, Starfire, and Raven. Then you have Terra, who went through such an odyssey in season 2, starting out as this loner who might have a very cool, down-to-earth, and fun-loving shell, but inside there is this young girl who feels like she can't control her powers and feels thoroughly insecure and is therefore scared to have it all exposed until Slade tries to gaslight her and manipulate her into being his apprentice. And just as you think that she was a full-on heroine, there's also something about her that started to become a lot more suspicious, in which she did end up falling for Slade's machinations, even with her budding romance with Beast Boy, which, mind you, I definitely am a loyal BB Terra shipper slash partisan. She found herself falling for Slade's machinations and therefore becomes his apprentice, discarding nearly everything that she admired and endured with the Titans. But once she starts realizing that enough's enough, she starts to take some responsibility for her actions, especially after her final confrontation with Slade, and when there is that massive volcano erupting. She saves the world by stopping it and using the rest of her powers. And it's a shame that she could have been revived, but from what I looked through in the Teen Titans Go comics, no, not the Dumpster Fire show, the Teen Titans Go comics revealed that Geoforce did revive her, and he restored her body in flesh and blood, but she chose to live a normal life. And that was pretty much it for Terra's story, but it would have been more satisfying to have had a lot more with her. Speaking of which, season 3 featured Cyborg and Titans East, which consisted of Speedy, Aqualad, Massimenos, and Bumblebee, who were just as charismatic and just as charming as characters. And I also found myself loving Speedy's devil-may-care attitude, Aqualad's whole down-to-earth nature and level-headedness, Bumblebee's sass and thoroughly energetic personality, and Massimenos being the absolutely adorable twins who also cause a lot of mischief and fun, thus making the experience a lot more exciting. At least the biggest highlight for season 3 is Beast Within, in which we see Beast Boy just go through a moment where he's not just this comedic kid brother of character, but when he's doused with chemicals, he finds himself having a 180 with his personality, especially in terms of his rather epic fight with a suited up Adonis. And it's not until that he goes through a transformation into a sort of werebeast. And there's a little bit of character development for him. And it's an episode that also shows just how much it's willing to challenge its characters. Speaking of challenging its characters, season 4 also proved itself to be a major challenge for Raven, because it's not only her birthday, but her birthday means that she's going to cause the apocalypse, especially when her father, Trigon, also arrives in the picture to serve as the harbinger of doom, destruction, and despair, not only to Jump City, but arguably the entire world. However, it's not just Trigon that's in this, but also the resurrected Slade, who also has gained a lot more supernatural powers, but has also become just as intimidating and also becomes an unwilling ally to the Titans, especially when Trigon betrays his word to Slade. And what you get with Raven's story arc is a tale of a girl who has this dark destiny, and that's why she's constantly distant and usually has a lot of these snarky yet cynical jabs, but is still a girl who feels like she needs people to understand her. And it's through that moment that Raven regains all of her powers after being in a state of total despair, that she finally stands up to Trigon and therefore destroys him. And it's just thorough brilliance all the way through, which is also what made season 4 wonderfully brilliant. And season 5, it also deals with parts of Beast Boy's past with his Fountain Family Doom Patrol before his time on the Teen Titans team. And we also had the pleasure of seeing the origin story go, in which we see how the Titans came to be, how they were before they became the team that they are. And what's also interesting, yet I feel like should have been used a lot more for season 5, was the gathering of different Teen Titans, from Argent to Cole to Jericho to Gnark to Panther to even Thunder and Lightning, who have reformed, as well as Jinx, who has reformed, and Kid Flash. There were different Teen Titans from all over the world who have assembled together. And to quote Eli Stone, aka the cartoon hero, it would have been almost akin to Justice League Unlimited if the concept of having more Teen Titans had been developed. But it's a shame that Cartoon Network canceled the show while it got so good, because there was so much to be done with all of these different Titans. And it would have been really cool to have had a 6th season with all of them on board. But regardless, I still thank Teen Titans for its amazing balance of action, comedy, amazing characters, amazing animation, and a wonderful, wonderful cast that made the show absolutely legendary. I already spoke about Scott Menville, Kari Payton, Hynden Walsh, Tara Strong, Greg Sipes, and Ashley Johnson, who did amazingly iconic jobs voicing Robin, Cyborg, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, and Terra respectively. But I must also bring up Ron Perlman, whose smooth baritone acidic voice made Slade a thoroughly intimidating threat. And Takea Crystal Kema, who was really renowned for her appearances on In Living Color, and That's So Raven as Tanya Baxter, provide a lot of sass and flair to Bumblebee. Oh, and I dare not forget about Sarasim, who is the ancient barbarian girl that Cyborg met in the past, who I think should have been a couple, all things considered, voiced by Kimberly Brooks. And Kimberly Brooks managed to provide Sarasim with a lot of beauty and a whole lot of brilliance to make her work so well as a character. And then even Hynden Walsh voiced Blackfire, proving herself to be absolutely versatile, and also proved herself to voice not just all of these sweet ingenue girls who could also be clever, but could also voice bitches like Blackfire, thus showing how versatile she truly is. Lauren Tom is Jinx, who was thoroughly brilliant and charismatic. And even Hynden Walsh, again, as Argent, thus also showing how versatile she truly is. And Mike Ryan as Speedy, Will Wheaton as Aqualad. Let's just say that Teen Titans had an ensemble cast of awesome thespians providing their characters with brilliance. And I dare not forget about Tom Kenny as Mumbo and Jim Cummings as the Master of Games. Everybody did brilliant jobs all the way through. Teen Titans 2003 is a masterpiece and a half. While there could have been a lot more done with this show, I could still appreciate everything that made Teen Titans the absolutely epic masterpiece that Cartoon Network ever produced. And yes, there could have been a 6th or even 7th season, but I'm still thankful for everything that Teen Titans had to offer. Its wonderful combination of action, thrills, chills, comedy, and drama, and brilliantly wonderful characters made and has made, let alone will always make, Teen Titans 2003 the absolute gem that it truly is. And for those of you who have caught Teen Titans during your childhood or have been rewatching this show, what did you think of it? Do you still love Teen Titans to this day? Do you feel like there should have been a lot more done with Teen Titans 2003? Which character and which episodes do you really love the most? And do you also feel like there should be a lot more to be remembered about Teen Titans? Or do you feel like the show is overrated? Please let me know your thoughts on the comments below. Well, that's it for my unscripted retrospective of Teen Titans 2003. A thoroughly brilliant and absolutely dynamic show that I still love to this day, and one that I thoroughly loved ever since I was an 11-year-old boy back in 2003. So until then, have a wonderful Easter season.